Dr. Tushar Patel, welcome to ITV Gold. I hope you're doing well today.
Thank you so much, Aditi and ITV Gold, for this wonderful opportunity to come on air and give information.
Of course, you are ITV Gold's own, medical professional, advisor, health expert, and so much more. So I truly appreciate you for all the time you've given us throughout this pandemic. Let's get right into this interview because I have a lot of questions for you. Starting off this interview, I have to ask you, President Donald Trump got COVID-19. And currently, he's been said that he is recovered. He was on a monoclonal antibody that was given to him. Remdesivir was also given to him. What kind of insight could you tell us about President's treatment of COVID-19? And why is it that we have not gotten those? The public has not gotten those treatments. Your take on that?
So those medications, experimental antibody therapy, convalescent plasma treatment, remdesivir, those are not approved by FDA. So those are not approved for common individuals unless you are severely sick in the hospital setting. People like President or some politicians are able to get those medications or treatment. Common people who rely on the insurance company to approve, which is not FDA approved, it's going to be very challenging for common people to get those medications. He did get the right medications, and I assume he's doing well after only 3, 4, 5 days of medications, and he's back on road. So I think his disease progression is probably in his favor right now. He's not getting any more complications. He did not develop pneumonia. So I'm pretty sure that he's responding well to the treatment.
He's also out now and he's hosting rallies where most people are not wearing masks, so it seems. Do you think that's a wise decision? Should he be distant away from people? Usually the quarantine is 2 weeks. I'm trying to understand how the president was allowed to just be free in 4 to 5 days.
Everyone should be following the recommendations by the CDC and the public health officials in this country. That includes the president. And I think he should not be doing large gatherings. He should not be doing the rallying, even though elections is only 2-3 weeks away. He should be more cautious. He should be helping our country to fight this pandemic. And I think it's very premature for him to start doing the rallies at this point.
This therapeutic that was used with him and the monoclonal antibody, do you see it as a potential treatment in the next coming months for the public?
It could be, however, that treatment right now is going to be very expensive. So I think when a time for people to get the medications or the treatment, it's all depending on the dollar value. So sometimes the insurance company weigh in, pharmaceutical companies weigh in, politicians weigh in. So it's very tough for us to tell right now that what treatment will work. Like I said previously, we need something like Tamiflu, which we use for influenza. If we have those kind of tablets or treatment available, 4 or 5 days of treatment, which is not very costly, should be very cost effective. Yes, those kind of treatments would be good for the therapeutics for the COVID-19 treatment.
Let's talk about vaccine real quick, doctor, and then we'll go into the surging cases, which is really concerning everyone around the nation. Johnson & Johnson trial has been paused in the US. AstraZeneca is still on a pause in the United States right now. What information could you give us about the vaccine treatments and when could we expect this vaccination?
So the vaccine trials are going well, except the Johnson & Johnson has to pause late stage clinical trial for unexplained illness for one individual. So what happens with these clinical trials? These are given to thousands of people. When we are trying to have this vaccine for millions and millions of people, those multiply. So if only one individual get severe complications or unexplained illness, that is very challenging. Like I said before, it will take some time. In my calculations, my healthcare expertise, my public health expertise, my personal opinion is we will get the vaccination sometime spring, summer 2021.
Well, there's still a lot of time to that. Let's discuss these surging cases while we are discussing the fact that we're still waiting on the vaccine. Looking at the Midwest, in states such as Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, cases are surging a lot. There's a huge spike in cases. A field hospital has been set in Wisconsin. Why are we seeing such a surge of cases, and why cannot we control it after so many months of this pandemic?
Again, the mixed information, very confusing information coming from the federal government. We have some experts like Dr. Fauci. We should be listening to him. This is no magic. This is no miracle. We have to follow the guidelines of avoid large gatherings, wear facial coverings, social distancing. If we don't do that, this is a big country. You can't be taking a chance if we control in one state, and if we have 20% infection rate in another state. I think that's not good. So I think the key here is we need to ensure that we follow the recommendations given by the CDC. We follow those safe practices, evidence-based science, epidemiology, the data, the statistics. Those are the most important things right now, and not the politics. I know it's election year. Election is coming in few weeks, I think, but we all need to be very safe right now, besides elections and politics.
Definitely. I have here some stats about 41 US states are currently showing a spike in cases. We're looking at 7.8 million cases in this country, over 215,000 deaths. My question now is looking at the tri-state, which was the epicenter for the first surge of coronavirus. Are you scared or concerned about the second surge impacting these states particularly?
New York, New Jersey, Connecticut are on the right path right now. We only have less than 2% infection rate compared to Wisconsin, 20%, South Dakota 23%, Missouri 15%. So I think if we continue the same protocols we did before, social gatherings, avoid crowd gatherings, wear facial coverings, social distancing, I think we should be able to contain the virus in our area. However, fall and the winter months are coming, which will bring influenza virus in the mix. If we have those mixed with the coronavirus cases, it will be very difficult to isolate those cases, and it's going to be very challenging for the public health officials, the healthcare professionals to treat and isolate those cases. It's very challenging.
Yes, definitely. In case of a second surge, doctor, since we are talking about it, when do you expect it, and where do you see it making the epicenter, just looking at the statistics of the country right now?
So right now, in my opinion, I think Washington, D.C. is the epicenter because White House only had 34 cases of positive coronavirus in last few weeks, last 10 days. So I think this area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, highly populated areas will be at risk of getting those cases if we don't try to minimize the number of new infections in our area by following the public health officials' guideline. So it's very, very, very possible that by end of October, early November, when the winter months begin, when we have the spike of influenza cases, we may see some new cases of coronavirus in this area as well.
Just a quick note here, doctor. How important is it for us to get our flu shot this season?
You know, this is the year you don't want to argue with public health officials or your physician. You should get the flu vaccination. Flu vaccine is free right now, almost every locations in this country. If you don't have flu vaccine, any pharmacy, any public health place will give you free vaccine if you don't have insurance. So this is the year you don't want to miss the flu shot. A lot of people arguing getting the flu shot because they feel that they get sick. I think this is the you want to protect yourself by not getting the flu and not getting the complications from flu, such as pneumonia, which can worsen your COVID-19 case if you're positive with COVID-19 as well.
You know, since we are discussing a lot about COVID-19, I have to ask you, at high-risk patients, we see a lot of them in the South Asian population. What are your current concerns about them? Have you found any interactions with COVID and these high-risk patients?
So high-risk population, diabetics, cardiovascular disease patients, or patients with renal disease or kidney disease or lung disease, they should be protecting themselves, number one, by following the guidelines, taking the flu shot, make sure they don't go out in public places, avoid large gatherings. Those are the simple things we have been telling people to do for those risk-based individuals. And if they do that, I think they can do many other activities without any restrictions. And I think small gatherings, meeting with their families, all those things is allowed right now, as long as they know what kind of gatherings they have and what kind of people are there in their gatherings.
Dr. Patel, in terms of children and the youth of the nation, students going back to colleges and schools, what have you noticed in the last few weeks? Are you still concerned about students being in in-person learning?
I think right now what I'm seeing in last few weeks, many colleges and many schools have figured out the way of conducting the classes. So the immediate risk of getting the new infections from those campuses or from the schools are at a minimum level right now. We don't see that much spike in those areas. However, it's very concerning when the winter month comes, when we have new cases of influenza and coronavirus together. We may have some challenging questions to answer at that point.
Doctor, while we're looking at 7.8 million cases in the country, potentially how much more could we see by the end of December? Just your own personal take.
So it all depends what we do from now, middle of October till end of December. What kind of measures do we take? If we see this 10, 15, 20% of new infections in some states in this country, we may hit a million cases or million deaths in this country. So this is no joke. I think we all need to be very careful. And I know things are getting better in tri-state area, but I think overall picture is not that good.
Definitely. Just talking more about this, when you're looking at the actions that are happening right now, the attempts to curb this disease, what is the government still missing in terms of healthcare in this country?
So the lessons learned from the initial months of March, April, and May, when we did not have full PPEs available, the resources were scarce, the healthcare professionals were scared, there were no protocols, no guidance from the federal government. There was a guidance from the public health, but undermined by the politicians. So I think those things are in place right now. We are ready for the second wave, but I think we don't need to go to the second wave and try to avoid as many deaths as we can, save as many lives as we can, because this is United States. We should be a leader in controlling and mitigating the infections in this country, and we should be number one in controlling the pandemic. We are not at this point. So that's my concern right now.
Yes, definitely. While discussing South Asian Americans, and so much more in the diaspora, I have to ask you about our subcontinent itself. Your take on the rising cases in India and other parts of Southeast Asia. How concerned are you for family back home?
So India, very interesting fact about India. So a lot of people are getting infected, but the death rate is very, very minimal, small, 0.5%, even less than 1% in some states. So that is the good news. However, the pandemic is not over yet, and population of 1.3 billion people, if we count 1% of death, is probably will put us in number one category in this pandemic. So India, we have to be careful. Unfortunately, the measures the government has taken earlier is not happening right now, and unfortunately, the country this big size is very unfortunate for us to control the virus and the mitigation in that country.
Is it possible to obtain herd immunity in a nation like India if there are enough cases? And similarly, WHO said that it's really hard to get the herd immunity very recently in the United States. On both countries, what do you have to say?
So about 70% people needs to be infected first.
Okay.
We are not at that stage in any country that 70% of people got infected. If India becomes that country where we have 65-70% people get infections and they recover from it, definitely will get the herd immunity.
Definitely. While I still have you here, I want to go over some specifics about COVID-19 so perhaps our audience could understand it just a little bit more. Doctor, how close does a person need to be to an infected person to get the infections themselves if they're wearing a mask? and the other person
So,
is not?
so if you are one within 6 feet, and if you don't wear the mask, and if that individual has carrying the virus or has infection, you will get the infection. So you need to avoid that, and you need to ensure that 6 feet distance. It's an aerosol spread. It's a respiratory droplet. So if anyone is coughing, sneezing, or singing, or speaking loud, you will get that infection real quick if that individual is sick.
And in terms of how it is airborne and how the droplets stay, doctor, if someone is perhaps walking or going for a jog or a run and decides to not wear a mask, do you advise that?
So if you are going just for a jog, and if you are not come into contact with a large group of people, it's okay not to wear facial coverings. However, if you are walking and there are a lot of people walking in that walking trail, you want to protect yourself, because number one, you don't know if that individual will cough on you, if that individual is sick, if the droplets will go on you or not. So I think that's a very tricky situation, but we all need to be very, very protective of ourselves, need to ensure that we follow the guidelines.
Say if you're in a room with a person and you do have a 6 feet difference, but you're the only one wearing a mask, are you still at risk because the other person is not wearing one?
Both persons should be wearing the mask. That should be the key.
Definitely.
That should be the key. Yes.
Definitely. So, doctor, we are coming towards the end of this interview. I have to ask you at this point, what is your biggest concern going into the next couple of weeks?
So next couple of weeks, between now and Thanksgiving, almost a month from now, everyone should be following the guidelines given by the CDC. There is no reason for us to do any large crowd gatherings. Avoid large crowd gatherings if at all possible. Unless you are meeting with your close family members, 10, 15 people whom you know that they are clear, they don't have infection, you can do so. Wear facial coverings. There should be a mandatory thing to have a facial coverings in public places. Social distancing. Keep yourself isolated from individuals at least 6 feet. If not, then wear facial coverings. Those are the main things you want to do in order to sustain a good low viral infection response in this country. If we don't do that, I think next 6 to 8 weeks is going to be very challenging for us. We will see second surge of coronavirus cases, and we will go round and round, and we'll have a very challenging winter months coming until next year.
My last question to you, doctor, has to be about mental health awareness. With such an increase in issues like depression, anxiety seen throughout this nation, studies are suggesting that too. What do you think could help people maintain a good mental health during this time period?
So I think my message to the common people is stay positive. I know sometimes it's not easy to stay positive, but I think people need to understand the worst is over. So just follow the recommendations by our experts. Do your part. Keep yourself engaged with positive things. You can do so many things, even though you're not meeting with people. So I think those things such as yoga, meditations, online meetings, Zoom calls, reading books, watching some positive movies, those are the things will help you mentally. And this is not the end of the world. We are all in this together. And I think if we do, all of us do our own part, I think by January, February, I can tell you we will be in better shape. And by that time, we'll have a vaccination, which will be effective about 50, 60%, and we all will be protected. And I think that the key is from now until the vaccine, I think we need to protect ourselves by not getting sick. That's the message I want to give to our people.
Definitely. And here's to hoping for the best, doctor, the best possible scenario that you just put in front of us. I hope it comes true. Thank you again for your time on ITV Gold.
Thank you so much.